You're in for a treat.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays.
2 West.
6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
We got new hours because we're nerdish.
And we're in our 20s despite our looks, so we gotta do things in the evening time over the summer.
Correct, but not too late because, as Levi said, we're in our mid-20s.
Not our early 20s.
And not our late 20s, the mid-20s.
Yes, we're the Goldilocks of 20s.
That's right, I shouldn't have laughed. I gotta keep it cool, because this is our intro rap, where we keep things cool.
We're very cool, so cool we might want a dance break.
Hey, thanks for watching our dance break.
Now, back to the really serious stuff.
Like Brady
And Levi.
and Brady too. We're the 3 members of the Nerdish crew.
That was perfect. We didn't plan that.
Not at all. We don't plan anything. If you couldn't tell by this rap. That was the one thing we rhymed.
That was the one thing.
Which makes it a rap.
Yes, all raps have one rhyme.
We'll see you on 2 West.
Yes, 2 West.
6, 7:30 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
Keep watching, because it'll turn into us, but probably not wearing the wigs.
Yes, and we'll be much more responsive to whatever you have to say.
You could ask us questions right now. We will not answer them.
Also, we take no responsibility for anything we've done in this pre-recorded session.
Yes. Any lost items, Nerdish is not responsible.
Right, we don't have anything to do with it. We're very different people in the present than we are from when we're recording this video. You might say we are the pupae of Nerdish right now, and in the future we will be the moths.
The
Because moths are the
disgusting gray moths.
Yes, those gray moths that you hear, they're
Yeah.
like the bats of the flying community.
The wings are leathery. They're leathery wings.
Very leathery.
They're basically butterflies, but we hate them.
Yes.
They're the rodents of butterflies.
This is true.
Right?
Just like the ACT is the rodent of the SAT.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
Welcome.
Come one, come all, brethren and sistren. It is I, Brady, here to answer any questions at all. Ring Matthews! Levi!
Yes.
Come quick! It's Ring Matthews. Master Matthews Ring. Welcome to the dojo.
Hey, how are you? How'd it go?
Did it go well? Did it go not well?
They're actually changing the scale of
Thumbs.
the ACT to thumbs up, thumb down, and thumb in the middle. So,
So you got 3 scores?
how did you do?
Didn't finish 10 on writing.
Really? The English section at the beginning? It's a bummer. What?
Jeez, what was that?
Is there another ACT next month? There is, right? I don't
Yes.
think that applies for reading.
Lenify's got an interesting question.
Oh, we have a Lenify question?
Yeah.
Was that tonight?
No, I mean he put it on the stream right after we left. Oh, this is actually not too hard at all.
Matthew, are you able to take the testing? I assume not, right? You're done at this point? If it's done, it is what it is. Life goes on. You're done, yeah. You still have the scores to get into the school you want, right? I think you still, not necessarily, like not at the top there, but I think you'll be okay. I do. And also the, 10 on writing is the most forgiving section because there are 75 questions.
It's forgiving, my lord.
Did you comment in the Discord?
I did. Did you?
Wow, I didn't, but my business partner did.
Wait a second. Isn't that me? A 33?
Maybe not quite there, but I mean, at this point it doesn't matter. You'll get the score eventually. So I'm not going to tell you what I think because I'm probably wrong. And I don't know what I think. Let's put it that way. I actually don't have an idea. We can go, there seems to be something in math. Oh, this is also, no, we did Lenify's math question. Okay.
We did that one?
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
We did it together.
No, we did not.
Yes, we did.
I did not.
Yes, we did.
Yesterday?
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, it was all you.
No, we had it here. It was triangles, and you said you actually had, they all add up to 180, and each of them actually has 2 degrees in it.
That was not that question.
That's the one I was talking about.
That's not the one that was on the board just now.
No. Wait, what board? This one?
Are you serious? This question has no triangles on it.
I know that, but that's not the one I was talking about.
That's the one that's right here.
Obviously, it's right here, but I went to the math, and I said, did we do this one? And then you didn't say anything, and I said, oh yeah, we did that one. And then I moved to here.
We haven't done that one
I
yet.
know that. Keep fighting me, Brady. Okay, we need to go, let's see how the ACT and whoa, what's going on?
What just happened?
What have you done?
I restream.
The stream. Wait, stay there for a second on that screen. Here, let me get in here. Let me get in here.
Levi.
Yes, Bert.
Is my business partner.
Mm-hmm.
Levi is not my business partner. Levi is not my business partner. All these knots are tying me up in knots. Who's got questions? We know you're watching. You're sitting there looking at the screen going like, I've got a question, but I'm not gonna say it.
Because I want Levi and Brady to be sad.
Because you want us to be sad. That's pretty sadistic. Not to be confused with statistic. It's sadistic. Although there are some pretty sadistic statistics. And some statistical sadists. Sadistic. I'm running out of fumes right now. Yep. All the gasoline inside me is burned away, and now I just have fumes in my gas tank. But you can run on fumes for a while, actually. People don't really realize that. You're just going to destroy your engine. Hey, people are watching, man. This is huge.
Oh, it's enormous. Hey, ask us your questions. I'm going to answer this question.
Put it up.
I will.
Put your dukes up. Put them up.
There you dukes. All right, this is on the SAT. Somebody has a question. They're asking why B is wrong. That's what they're saying. All right. Okay. So this is a writing section question for the SAT, so English for the ACT. Oh, my thing is in the way. All right. In August 2013, the archaeologist... Oh, sorry. Let's check the question type first. This person is wondering why B is wrong, so we'll figure that out. Looking at this question, we have a semicolon in D, so we'll probably start there. In A, for no change, what's already there, we have a period. And C, we have a comma. B, we have a comma. And we have other stuff. There are a couple things you got to notice here. A and D are identical, except for one of them is a period, one of them is a semicolon. If you have a semicolon and a period, and nothing else is different between those two answers, they're both wrong. Because periods and semicolons are used in exactly the same way on both tests. So if you see them both, they both can't be right, so they both have to be wrong. So A and D are wrong immediately. Now that's not what this person is asking, but I wanted to say that. Now, looking at B and C, before we decide which one is the right answer, notice that we have put in a subject into B. B now has a subject, right? C has cite coming from somewhere else, and then a comma, and then we have including. That's not a subject. It's not even an active verb. You can't have including be your active verb. You can't have running be your active verb. If you have ing, that present participle, that cannot be your active verb. You'd say, I walk to school. You would not say, I walking to school, right? You would have to say, I was walking to school, but now you have another verb in there, and that's your verb, little sandwichy thing. So, in B, because we have a new subject being these, or among these, basically we're looking at sentence structure here. Not sure exactly what the sentence structure is, and I apologize calling among these the subject. It's a weird thing to talk about, so we'll get there. C does not have it. So we're dealing with sentence structure. We need to figure out where our independent clause is. As soon as you realize I'm doing sentence structure, do independent clause stuff. So the first part of this sentence is in August 2013. Let's just drop that. That doesn't help us at all. It's just a non-essential at the beginning, giving us time, whatever. The archaeologists discovered thousands of objects in a single 15-foot stretch that was likely a garbage disposal site. Garbage disposal 40. Oh, 40 is the number of this question. Okay, ignore 40. Sorry. That's an independent clause, right? The archaeologists discovered these things. This thing that was likely a garbage disposal site. That's definitely an independent clause. Then in B and C we have a comma. So we have IC for sure, and then we have a comma. And then we have in B, among these were buttons from Revolutionary War uniforms, clay pipes, and an imported whatever. That doesn't matter. So now we're listing things. Among these were. This is an inverted sentence that is misleading because you might think that among these were, that's not exactly a subject. It's not. Your verb is the verb were. Your subject is actually coming after the verb. Subject, you have a couple. So you have among these were buttons from Revolutionary War uniforms, clay pipes, and an imported mineral water bottle from Germany. Those three things that are listed are your subject. Okay? It's like saying, let's see. Let me give you a nice example of this that's smaller than this. It often sounds strange. I mean, it sounds normal to say, you know, there were 4 sandbags. Okay, so this is something that you're very used to. You see this and you say, there were 4 sandbags. That's definitely an independent clause. Yes. Hey, Brady, can you find this question on the SAT Reddit and then... Post, yeah. I think it's the most recent, or one of the most. It's called Writing Help. There were 4 sandbags. This is actually... So this is an independent clause. This is definitely your verb. That's the only verb here. Your subject is 4 sandbags. Anytime you say there were, there are, there is, this is not the subject. It's not there doing the was or were being. This is the subject. There were 4 sandbags. 4 sandbags were there, right?
Computer's dead.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hope this makes sense. And so coming back up to here, we have an independent clause. We have an independent clause like this one, which means we have an independent clause, comma, another independent clause, which is a comma splice. You can't do that. So you have to go with C, because C is making the second part of the sentence a non-essential, right? I have 4 sandbags, including, actually that's not a good idea to use this. I have 2 books, including the book of life, or the Bible, including the Bible. Hey, Lenify, how are you? Now that you're here, you got YouTube all for yourself. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Okay, we can do your question if you'd like. Okay, I hope this makes sense. The C is correct because we have an independent clause, comma, non-essential, or a positive, however you want to say it. So that's fine. This situation can't happen, but I assume that it's you didn't know that the second part of the sentence was an independent clause because it's a weird setup like this. Now, this is very normal. Your gut feeling says this is a full sentence, and it is. But your gut feeling is not going to tell you that this is your subject. And in the sentence in this question, it's definitely not going to tell you that buttons from Revolutionary War uniforms, clay pipes, and an imported mineral water bottle from Germany are your subjects. It wouldn't tell you that. What helps for this, and I'm sorry for going on for so long, is breaking down the sentence and cutting out stuff you don't need. So, among these were buttons, clay pipes, and a water bottle. So, among these were a button, a pipe, and a bottle. Maybe this strikes you as more of a complete thought than what's up there, because this thing up here has so much extra BS in it. And your gut feeling isn't very good at dealing with things that are really complicated that you haven't seen before. So try to strip them of, extraneous adjectives, things like that. Buttons from Revolutionary War uniforms? Buttons. Clay pipes? Pipes. And imported mineral? No, whatever. Bottle is fine. If you do that, then your gut feeling will tell you more stuff. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, Lenify. Let's do your question. And by let's, I mean Brady, so I can find my computer charger. So go, yeah, just gonna have to undo that. Oh, we got a second Lenify question. Do you want me to let you do both?
Sure, if you want.
Oh, I want.
There used to be a something alone on the hill.
Lenify! Let n equals 1 squared plus 4, 1 squared plus 1 to the 4th plus 1 to the 6th plus 1 to the 8th plus all the way to 1 to the 50th. What's the value of n? Lenify. Lenify. Here in the moment, you don't need to apologize for being late. This isn't like a class. We're glad you're here, but you should be here in the moment, which you weren't. Lenify. 1 times itself is always going to be 1. So all of these terms, 1 squared, 1 to the 4th, 1 to the 6th, it's just going to be, they're all going to be 1. Because 1 to the 6th is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. It just gives you 1. So the question here is, how many 1s do we have? If you look at our exponents, they're only even numbers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, all the way to 50. So the question is, how many even numbers are there on the way to 50? There are 50 numbers in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, all the way to 50. How many of those are even? Well, half of them. Half of all numbers are even, half of all numbers are odd. So there are going to be 25 numbers in this sequence, 25 terms. And if that's the case, we have, here in the moment, is it 50? Oh, never mind. If that's the case, we have 25 terms, all of which are 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 25 times. 1 times 25 is 25. Lenify, how do you feel about that? I didn't write anything. Maybe I should have. But I thought maybe just verbally this could make some sense. We have 25 terms. Oh no. Oh no. My back. What are your thoughts, Lenify? Have we Lenified the problem for you? We want to know that you're okay with this. We're going to keep going soon, but it'd be nice to know if you like that. I assume a lot of ones, I understand. Very good. Yes, a lot of ones. All right. Another Lenify question. Let's see what we have here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the answers for right now. Very good. Making this big, blowing it up. Okay. In the figure above, point C is the midpoint of segment BD. What is the length of AE rounded to the nearest whole unit? This is going to be interesting. So I am definitely going to need to draw this thing. Okay. Okay, and then we have a little taller here. This. Bam, direct hit. And then we have this, and this goes down to here. Oof, didn't like that at all. This goes right to there. Okay, those are the types of questions that stump me on the SAT. The 1 to the certain power, or these kinds of questions. So we have 2x. This is a right angle. This is 8. Now they give us some coordinates, and based on the coordinates they're giving us, this is going to be the origin.
That's 0, 0. So I'm just going to continue these axes. This is our x-axis. This is our y-axis. And remember that right there is the origin. So I'll just have some axes going there and from there. OK. So because this is 8, that is why this point is 8, 0. And they also say, OK, this is x. And OK. That's why I think ACT is math better. ACT is harder. Yeah, these ones. Yep, they're tricky. You just got to start labeling things, finding little pieces. It's just you're taking bites out of it, and eventually a bigger picture might emerge. If C is the midpoint of BD, that means that this distance is going to be the same as that distance. So this is also going to be 8. Now we know the height of this point. They said that A up here is 0, 6, which tells us something. If this length is 2x and this point is 6 units high, then we can set 2x equal to 6 because we know that it's 6 units high. Therefore, x equals 3. So if x equals 3, this is now going to be 3. And this is now going to be 6 as we knew it before. OK? So one of the nice things about this problem is they make you think of it in terms of a coordinate plane with x and y. We know this point right here is 0, 6. This coordinate right here, we can figure out because we've gone 16 units away from the origin in the right direction, and then we've gone 3 units up. So this is going to be 16, 3. And they want to know the distance, the length of AE, which is that right there. Now that we have 2 points on the coordinate plane, you can just use the distance formula to find the distance between them. You may or may not know the distance formula. The trick to the distance formula is just remembering that it's Pythagorean theorem and then finding the right triangle. Okay, so this distance here is going to be the hypotenuse of our right triangle. And if I draw us a dotted line right here, that is our right triangle. Okay, so the question is, what is this distance here and what is this distance here? Then we have 2 legs of a right triangle. This distance here is the entire x length of this whole picture, which is 16. 16 and 3. Right. So this is going to be 16. And then this has a height of 3, but we still have to go up by 3 to get to 6. So this is 3 right there. So we just have to use 16 and 3 in Pythagorean theorem, and that will get us what our third side is going to be. So we have 3 squared plus 16 squared is equal to, I'm going to call it L squared because I just called it L up there. 9 plus 256 is equal to L squared. So L is equal to the square root of 263, which is going to be slightly above 16. It's going to be a little bit above 16. 17 squared is 289. 16 squared is 256. So 263 is between those. So it's going to be somewhere between 16 and 17. Let's take a look at our answers. Now, of course, if you have a calculator, you can calculate exactly what this thing's going to be. Our answers are, it's going to be closest to 16. It's going to be closest to 16, yeah. Now, just a reminder about the distance formula. I'm going to close this down for a sec. Just a reminder about the distance formula. You got to know 2 points. So I'm going to call this 1, 1, and I'm going to call this, I don't know, 5, 4. 5, 4, okay? I want to find the distance between them, which is this line, okay? Right triangle it up. You're trying to find the hypotenuse here, all right? What you need to find is, what is this distance? This distance is going to be the difference between the 2 x coordinates, because it is how far we have to move to the right to be on the same x line as the other point. We're going from 1 to 5, which means it's going to be 4. This one is going from 1 to 4, which means it's going to be 3. If you know your Pythagorean triplets well, you know you'll have a 3, 4, 5 triangle right here. Okay? So in general, you have 2 points to start with, x1, y1, and then you have x2, y2. And we start with Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Okay? The thing we're trying to solve for is c. It's the hypotenuse. That's going to be the distance, so I'm just going to change this to a d. All right? That's our distance. If you want to solve for distance, you have to take the square root of both sides. So this is going to be distance is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared. Now, the side lengths. Remember how we found the side lengths? The distance in the x's, the distance between the y's. And the way that you find distances is you subtract. You find a difference. So this is going to be the difference between the x coordinates. This is going to be the difference between the y coordinates, which is why the distance formula ends up looking like this. That is the distance formula, all right? But what I always do after a long day at work is I come home and pour myself a glass of water, and I just do Pythagorean theorem. I just draw out a little coordinate plane, label my points, and I visually think through what's the x distance, what's the y distance. Pythagorean theorem, great. Because you should not have to occupy your mind with memorizing this. It's not that hard to memorize, but if you're not confident in your ability to memorize this and regurgitate it on command, then just remembering the distance on a graph is Pythagorean theorem. You actually, I'll never tell. That's personal. It's my personal life. Of course he does. You don't know what I do. This is work. Basically during work. You know, because work is what you do to get paid. And Levi and I do this for free, so we don't get paid at all. Why do we do it? Great question. Good question.
For the money.
Gandalf's pipe. I don't know why I did that. It's Gandalf's pipe. It's wizard stuff. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm going to erase this now. Very good. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Very good. Which calculator should I upgrade to? I still have a TI-83. Still taking Calc 1 if that matters. Here in the moment, TI-84 plus CE is a great calculator. Oh, we just got some bits. Hey, Mish Mish. Mish Mish. I'm going to eat those bits if you don't mind. There we go. That's good. I eat bits. That's one thing that I eat. Yeah, ask your... That was a great tip. Hey! It was a great tip. Thank you, Mish Mish. Actually, Lenify, I'm not sure if you saw that. You sound like a pig. Well, yeah, that's how I sound when I eat bits. Is that not how you sound when you eat bits? Ask your math teacher what you should get. They're all going to be expensive. Inspire's that's a pretty nice calc. But I like the 84 plus CE. If you're going to use it on the SAT or the ACT, you want to make sure you get it without CAS. C-A-S. You'll see it on the front of the calculator. It's like a computer algebra solver. Basically, you just put an equation and it solves it for X for you, which takes the fun out of it. So it's illegal on the ACT. I think it's legal on the SAT. Without or with? Without CAS. Yeah, on the ACT, they do not allow calculators with CAS, so you're going to have to get one without CAS. But all in all, I would just ask your math teacher. Your math teacher knows the answer to this question. All the calculators we're talking about, though, they all do calculus stuff. So you should be able to do any of the stuff you're going to need to do in that class with an Inspire CX, an 84 plus CE. They're all going to work. All going to work. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, okay. You don't even get to use one. Yeah, some teachers don't have you do that. Everything will be calculatable by hand, which makes you feel pretty smart, actually. It's fun when you can do all that stuff by hand. The calculations won't get too crazy, though. If they did, we have 3 rows of Inspire CAS calculators in class that were never touched. No calculator is calculus. The irony.
Well, yeah, calc means calculator, but ULUS means without.
Isn't ULUS?
Oh, it's Levi. Hey,
Yeah.
it's Levi. Who are you?
Earlier.
Oh.
Meow. Yes. I think that's all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is Levi. In the flesh.
In the flesh, in this sack of skin and flesh and like bones sometimes.
You know, you're mostly water. You're like 60% water. You're basically just a big bag of water walking around. You knew that, right? Think about that. You're mostly water.
in. Yes.
Our ancestors came from the sea. You know that, right? That's why our tears are made of salt water. Think about it.
That's very, very ridiculous.
No, it's true. We miss the ocean. We have
I do miss the ocean.
ancestral memories of being amphibious kind of
People.
creatures that started to be able to walk on land from the ocean. Anyway, I'm gonna take a seat.
You're gonna take a seat.
Yeah, I'm gonna take one. I'm gonna steal it.
You want to stay up here with me until I find the question to do?
You got it.
Hey, here in the moment, do you have any questions? And Mish, I thought you said you were gonna come to stream tonight with some questions. I may have put that on you myself just now, but I thought that was the situation where you would ask us some questions. Hey Brady, could you get the old lady for me?
What?
Can you get the old lady for me?
Who's the old lady?
The old lady in the cupboard over there.
What?
She's got curly gray hair and no body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I understand now.
You don't have questions at the moment. That's a terrible way to live, Mish. You must always have questions. That's what they always say. Always be questioning. Could you do polar coordinates?
Oh, yeah.
They're not on the ACT or SAT. So, no.
Yeah, they're typically not. But if no one else is asking...
Oh, yeah, you're bad. That's right. But we won't hold you to it.
No, we can do it.
We'll just
If nobody's any
internalize
questions.
and fester.
No one has any questions, we can do that.
Yes. All right. So, polar coordinates. Those are the coordinates. Throw some questions at us. Who is us and to whom do you address? To whom do you address yourself? Ah, would you look at that? I know what you're going to do.
Yeah, right.
I do. You're going to put a point at 3, 4.
I
All
know.
right. So, 3, 4. This is not polar coordinates. This is rectangular coordinates.
Yep, that's what you're used to. You're going 3 units to the right, you're going 4 units up. So the coordinates give you the directions. Go 3 to the right, go 4 up, and you're at your point. But that's not the only way to indicate where you are. You can also get there by telling which direction to go and how far to walk.
Oh, yes. So in this case, we take the angle, we find the distance. That's what we're doing. We're finding the magnitude, basically, of this vector here from the origin to that point. So it's not the x value, it's not the y value, it is the distance, which we just talked about distance formula. You do distance formula.
If you're just
There
doing
you
it
go.
from the origin, then this is all you need to do.
Otherwise, you do the x1 minus x2 quantity squared plus y1 minus y2 quantity squared, all of that. Take the square root of it. And then for the angle here, you use whatever trig is necessary. We know this is 3 here. We know this is 4 here. So then we do tangent of theta equals 4 over 3. So therefore, tan inverse of y over x, or in this, yes, you understand.
It's like you're trying to shoot an enemy with a cannon. Your captain says, turn the cannon to 45 degrees north of west, and then shoot it so it goes 200 meters. You know, like they used to do.
Yeah, and then you say, come on, Captain, what about in rectangular coordinates?
Shoot a cannonball 4 miles directly east, and then have it change direction by a right angle and go 3 miles north. Of course, you couldn't do that with a can. Is that mine or yours?
No, it's an Amber Alert.
Uh-oh.
So, there's if any of you see in Deer Park, NY, oh, it's gone. Never mind.
It's already gone, huh?
It's an Amber Alert. So a car got away.
So if you have x and y and you want r and theta, you do this. But if you have r and theta,
How do you get to X and Y?
what are you gonna do?
You're gonna call Ghostbusters, most likely.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Ghostbusters. Ghosts in disguise.
Disguise. Well, I guess I kind of drew exactly the same thing.
You did.
Think about this, huh? Sine of theta is going to be y over r. You solve that for y, and you get r times sine theta. Levi, tell them what they're going to get for x.
You're gonna get X for X. I don't know what he said, but it doesn't matter what he said. What matters is how hard you try and how much you care.
That's
And
what matters in
remember
math.
that blood is thicker than water
It's
because
thicker than water.
of its
Viscosity.
Its viscosity. Yes,
Yeah.
the viscosity of blood is much higher than that of water.
Yarr.
So, yarg, as they all say.
Max Goldberg!
Goldberg Max.
Hey! What are you doing here? We haven't seen you in years. In fact, I thought I killed you.
You hadn't killed him, Brady. Remember, you had the last minute of remorse.
Oh, and then I decided not to kill him.
Remember, because you were gonna kill him, and then he said to you, Voldemort, try for some remorse, and you laughed at him,
And then I did
and
it.
then you evaded him, Kadabra.
I evaded him. Cadaver. Just been busy with normal school.
Yeah.
Oh, is this
we
not
doubt
normal?
it.
Are we not normal
Are
enough
we
for
not
you?
normal
Do you
enough for
think
you?
this is somehow weird?
We are school normally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is the most normal it gets. In fact, the whole time, this has been what's normal, and everything else has been weird, and this is the very first time that it's ever been normal.
Yep. What the heck, Max Goldberg?
Where do you get off?
Yeah.
Hopefully the next station.
Yeah. They really stink it up this car. With
Yeah, no,
normal
I know.
school
We
news.
understand. We assume so.
We understand.
Yeah.
We like hockey. We're big hockey guys.
Yeah, slap shots.
Boom.
Goal.
Back of the goaltending. Whoa.
Well, there's the fight.
6-0. Make sure you get that extra point.
Yep, someone's in the goalie box.
Oh yeah, they're right there. And don't foul the guy or they get foul shots.
That's a technical foul. Yeah, it
Yeah.
would make us feel better if... It also would make me feel better to go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's good. While Brady goes to the bathroom, you ask a question. Nerdish is very good at multitasking. Now, this would also, for those of you who asked, I forget who asked about this. Coolio. Oh, it's very Coolio. Mish. Was this? No, here in the moment. This was a very general theoretical explanation and probably doesn't help you all that much without examples. Would you like an example of this? If not, that's fine. We'll do something else. But we could, you know. Whatever you want to do. I can post it in Discord in a sec. It's on Parabolas. Yeah, post it. Yes, we have no other questions to do at this time. If you have time, yes, please. Oh, we will do the heck out of an example. Okay, let's say that we have, we have the r theta, that's what we're given, okay, and we're going to rectangular coordinates. So r theta is going to be, let's say, 45 degrees, okay? How do we get from 45 degrees? If anything, I know systems of inequalities messes me up on the SAT. I haven't attempted to work on one for a while. Ooh, okay. So we'll do a max question next, and then we'll do system of inequalities. Ha! Just like the current status quo in the U.S. It's a systematic inequality, you know, but it's math. Little dark. Anyway, we're going to graph this. Graphing polar coordinates is relatively easy. So, how do we know where to put the theta? The theta, Okay, well, in here it's always on the right side, but I don't think that's what you're asking. It's always from 90 degrees, okay? So we're starting here, just like 0 to, think unit circle, that's kind of the direction you're going. So we're going 45 degrees from horizontal, so that'll put us there. This has a length of 4, right? And now this is 45 degrees. So, to convert to rectangular coordinates, your normal stuff that you have, you want to figure out the x and y, which in this case isn't too hard. You create that right triangle, and then you do trig. You don't have to memorize the tangent, r sine theta stuff. I don't do that. It's faster if you have them memorized, but it's very hard to memorize, in my opinion. It's also, it's not the hardest thing. Maybe it's easy to memorize, but then it's easy to forget, so don't do that. Or do, whatever. But you must understand this. Okay, we just want to find, one of these sides and then the other. Let's try to find the x value here. Well, what trig ratio will allow us to compare the 45 and the 4 and the x? Well, that, of course, would be cosine. Cosine of 45 degrees equals x over 4, right? And then we solve. So we multiply by 4 on both sides. We got 4 times cosine of 45 degrees equals x. Now, cosine of 45 degrees, you should know that based on the unit circle. It is, you can do it in your calculator, but it's 2 rad 2 times 4, which would give you, so 4 times 2 rad 2 equals 8 rad 2. Did I do this right? No, I did not, because it's not 2 rad 2, it's rad 2 over 2.
Root 2?
Root 2. Root 2 over 2. So that would be 2 root 2 equals x. So that's this value here. I could leave this as x. So that's 2 root 2. And then you can do the same thing for the y value. Instead of cosine of 45, oh my gosh, mix, mish. You're rad. That was a rad joke. We like that. We like that. Say we like that.
We like that. We like it. Do you
Okay.
answer lenifies? When I put the theta?
Yes.
Very good.
I did. Is there an easier way to memorize the unit circle? Have it all written out for yourself and then try to notice patterns. That's the best way I can recommend for you. It's about pattern recognition. That's what the human cabeza does very well. All right. Now, the other one, you would do sine of 45 equals y over 4, and then you solve for y, and then you find that's the rectangular coordinate. I'm not going to go into the other way. You can still use trig. It's the same thing. So I recommend you always draw a picture, and then you use trig to figure out what you want. Going from rectangular to polar, or polar to rectangular, you're still using trig. Draw a picture, use trig. Draw a picture, use trig. All right. We got some max questions. Questions for stream. Hey, Bird. Well, oh, this is a fun one. You'll like this one, Bird.
Really?
Yeah, can you come up here and do it while I erase things?
Yeah.
Or would you like me to do it while you erase things?
No, I want to do it.
Okay.
I'm scared.
Why are you scared? Don't be scared.
Because I want to do it.
You're scared. You're scared.
I want to do it.
Okay, do it.
Make it big.
I'm gonna make it big.
Y is equal to negative 0.0015x times x minus 40. The surface of a road curves like a parabola to allow water to drain off of it, rather. Think about that. They designed roads to be kind of bulging out in the middle so that rain will go to the sides. The equation above shows the surface height y in feet above a base at a point x feet from the left edge of the road. The base has the same width as the road. What is the width of the road in feet? Oh, okay. Okay. The feet above the base at a point x feet from the left edge of the road. The base has the same width as the road. This was kind of confusing to me. Yeah, I can understand why. We're going to have to draw a picture here.
Oh, such a picture. Can I draw it?
Left edge of the road. Do you want, maybe. So, This is the ground. The road looks like that. If we're looking at it, and Levi's going to draw another picture, which is going to be good. May not be a super typical SAT question, too. No, it's a good thing to think about, okay? I'm looking at the road head on.
Does
So
this
somehow...
help you, Brady?
Yeah, it will in a sec.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what X is it tells us how far we are from the left edge of the road.
Hello, jerk lump. How are you?
So that's X. And then also your future. That's very good. That's also X. Okay. Good. Shows the surface height y in feet above the base at a point x feet. Okay, so y is how far off we are above the base, which would be, I guess, the ground that the road is built upon. Jerk lump, jerk clump, jerk clump, jerk lump, jerkle, something like that.
Ja, klumpen.
In feet above the base at a point x feet from the left edge of the road. Okay, so, I mean, y is then going to be the height of the road above the base. The very last part is interesting, though. The base has the same width as the road. What is the width of the road in feet? Okay, I think I get this. So the road's going to be symmetrical. We don't want it to just cut off, you know, right there. We want it to finish where it started, okay? So what that's going to mean is, let's figure out how high the road is to start. Okay? We're going to first, what I'm going to do here. Oh, let's think about this for a sec. Okay, so the equation is that y is equal to negative 0.0015x times x minus 40. Just by looking at that equation, there's a couple things we could tell, okay? Without even multiplying. Number one, this leading coefficient is negative, which is why it is a downward-facing parabola. That's number one. Number two, if the Amazon is on fire, how did my package arrive on time? Is this actually live? I don't know. Are you actually live, or are you dead? Yeah, it's actually live. If that was not... Yeah, no, it's live. Yeah. Now, of course, it's a couple seconds after we're saying this, so it's really not live anymore, but... I can guarantee you that from our end, it's very live. Levi is right over there.
Oh, yeah.
He's breathing. I'm right here. I'm also breathing. I'm confused to what's going on. We're doing this problem, Jerklump. This parabola here, we can figure out the factors. To be honest, the latency in your stream is pretty good. Prove it. I'm reading what you're saying. What do you want me to do? I can, I don't know, I could do a magic trick or something. If we set this equal to 0, we're going to be finding our solutions, which are also our x-intercepts, also our zeros, and these are our factors. The two solutions to this would be x equals 0 and x equals 40, okay? Because, again, if you have some quadratic like this, x plus 3 times x minus 2 is equal to 0, the way to solve this is using what's called the zero product property. So x plus 3 is equal to 0. The x value that would make this 0 is negative 3. X value that would make this 0 is positive 2. If x is either one of these values, you multiply these together, you get 0. So in this case, there are two different things that we could have for x. This would be 0 right here, if x was just 0. And then this right here would give us 40 as the answer. Okay, sorry, that comment got denied.
Ignore that.
Okay, I didn't mean to. Okay, so, if we think about this on a coordinate plane, that means that one of our y-intercepts happens at x equals 0, and one of them happens at x equals 40. All right? If that's the case, we've got the width of our road right there. Okay? I don't know how high this goes up, but I do know that every parabola is symmetrical, and if it goes through this point and this point, the axis of symmetry is right between them. This distance here is going to be from one intersection point to the other. X-intercept is 0, x-intercept is 40, so this is going to be 40. I think that's going to be width of the road in feet. Yeah. I should have put an intercept form. Would that not be the best method? I mean, this is factored form. So when you say intercept form, what do you mean by that? Because these factors do tell us what the intercepts are. It's 0 and 40. Either of these would make the whole thing...
It's linear.
What?
You probably don't realize it's Not linear. I don't know.
Yeah, when you say intercept form, maybe you're thinking of slope-intercept form, but that's only for linear equations. When you have an x squared, you have quadratics, like the x plus 3, x plus 2. Right, so this is in that form. Let me put parentheses around this. It is in that form. There's just a leading coefficient. Like if I put 6 out in front, it wouldn't change the fact that our answers are -3 and 2. The 6 doesn't change that -3 makes this quantity 0, 2 makes this quantity 0. This leading coefficient you can ignore. It doesn't mean we can't find the intercepts from this form. So this x right here is one of the factors, and the value that would make that x 0 is just 0 itself. Good, 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 good. You see. You see, you see. Excellent. Usfo, what score did you get on the SAT? Well, we're tutors, so we probably got a good score. That's the truth right there. That is absolutely the truth. Okay, good. Good, good, good. If you have a calculator, you'd also see that, is that it's going to cross back again. It wouldn't make sense for us to consider where it's below the x-axis where y is negative, because that means we're going underground. It tells us that where y is the feet above the base. Oh, one very similar. I think it's very simple. Okay. Well, we'll be the judge of that. Let's see. We have another Lenify question. We're going to do a Lenify question first, and then we'll come back to you.
We have a we need to do systems of inequalities.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I forget who asked systems of inequalities, though. Who was asking about systems of inequalities? Is that here in the moment?
I think that was me.
Oh, was it, Brady?
Yeah. That was Mish Mish.
That was Mish Mish, okay.
Mish 11, Mish 11.
Mish 11 man, Mish 11 man.
It's 11-11, make a Mish. That one will cost you. Next one will be free, though. Hey, Usvo. What's going on? How you doing? You need some help? You got any questions? We're glad you're here.
So glad.
We're very glad. We're so glad that you showed up. I mean, it's about time.
We're really happy about that.
We've been doing this for free for about a year.
Yeah, and now you're here and you can finally pay for yourself and everyone.
I'm here to learn vocabulary. That's good. I'll give him a vocab word of the day.
Oh, word of the day.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Vocab. Is this a big? Yes, it is. It's a large piece of glass. Okay. Word of the day. Is
Mish Mish.
bolus.
Ah, yes, the bolus.
There. Levi just made a bolus.
Sorta.
A bolus is a word that means after you chew up your food, you swallow it in a little ball. All right, you don't just swallow it slowly with all sorts of different pieces going down. It's a ball, and that's called a bolus. And the bolus goes down your esophagus and gets into your stomach, and then it mixes it up with acids and becomes chyme, C-H-Y-M-E. But before that, it's a bolus. That's the word of the day. There's your vocabulary.
And the word of the night is chyme.
Why do you have AP exams in September? We don't. What are you talking about? Jerk lump. Interesting. Oh, studying for my AP exam. Oh, it's probably just a test in his AP class, or her AP class. Probably not the AP exam at the end of the year. That's what I'm guessing. Any jerk lump. We have a question on reading portions of the ACT. You want to put that on the queue? Jerk lump. We're gonna put that. We're gonna put that on the thing.
Mish word. Let's do. Let's do that. Wait, did that give me the same thing? I didn't want that at all. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's not good though.
Make them different. Just make them different.
Okay, so these are our two inequalities, our system of inequalities.
Ooh.
Wow, it's very
What?
It's very fun and flirty.
Is the
SAT
SAT reading question the same as the
ACT?
Not exactly. It's a slightly different form. I was so confused. It's literally yellow outside. Mish Mish, what does that even mean? Yellow outside. What are you talking about?
What the heck are you saying?
Where are you looking?
Are you looking outside?
Are you in a bedroom that's inside a larger room and the paintings on the wall of the larger room is yellow?
Are you in the bottom of a toilet bowl looking out?
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Out the window, it's yellow. That can happen sometimes.
Yeah, once you study more math, it stops happening so much.
Yeah.
You should be confused. I would be confused if I looked outside and it was yellow as well.
Yeah.
Yellow snow. Yes, remember what they say. Always eat the yellow snow.
Always eat it. If you don't eat it, you're going to get sick.
Yep.
Or a tornado. Yeah. There was once a tornado.
Yes. Okay, so Mishward, and anybody else who's interested. These things, you're just going to graph them as though they were equal sign things. Bye, Max. So the first one's pretty easy to graph. Y, we'll say equals for now, equals 2x plus 3. So let's just do that. And so it's going to look something like that. That's y equals 2x plus 3. The other one we have to mess with a little bit before we can graph it nicely. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I'll do this over here. So 3x minus 2y is less than or equal to 4. We subtract 3x from both sides. We get negative 2x is less than negative 3x plus 4. Then we have to divide everything by negative 2. When you divide or multiply by a negative, you have to flip the sign. We get y is greater than or equal to 3 halves x minus 2. Please let me know if that doesn't make sense. That's not really so much graphing these things, but being able to deal with inequalities like that is very important. Now we're graphing that. Y-intercept is negative 2, and it has a slope of 1.5, so it's going to be something like, I don't know, that. Not really. It's not going to actually look like that, but that's what it is. They will cross eventually. I'm going to continue this one down a little bit farther. Okay, so those are our two lines. They're solid lines because there's equal stuff. It's not just less than or greater than. So now we have this and that. Yeah? Wow, this is really going. Now, we have to deal with shading. Can we explain Euler's identity, Bird?
We can try.
We can try. Can you? Yeah. Okay, so you got that. Now, shading. Put your marker, if you're in slope-intercept form for the inequality, okay? If you're there, put your marker or pencil or pen or whatever on the line, and then if it's greater than, you go up and shade everything above it. If it's less than, you go down and shade everything below it. So we have, I'm going to do this in two different colors. So I'm going to shade this one in blue. So we have this line, greater than. So we're going to put it on here. We're just going to shade everything above here. So it's going to be all of this stuff. Okay, so that's shaded from this equation. Now, the other equation is less than. So we're going to shade everything less than this line here, which would be this stuff. And then we see where they overlap, which is in here. So this is our solution shading area. Oh boy, that really went bad and real fast. Here, this area. Mish, does that make sense? Are you happy? Treat them both like normal linear equations. Graph those things. Then shade in above or below if they're in y equals mx plus b form, or y is inequality to whatever, then above and below. Can't say I'm happy, but it makes sense. Oh, be happy. Just stop being unhappy and be happy. If you're feeling too much negativity, Brady, what do we say?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm holding.
Hold on.
Hold.
If you're feeling too much negativity,
Yes.
just
Repress and dissociate. Okay? Remember, if you leave your personality at the door, you can't feel unhappy because you feel nothing.
Yep, you just go numb. It's great.
Yes. Yes.
Emptiness.
It's like you burned yourself and you can't feel anything on that little part of your thumb. It's like that, but your whole life and
Yeah.
emotionally.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yep. You want to just wring emotions out of your life.
Mhm.
Now, you won't be able to be happy at all.
Yeah.
But
It really shuts you off from any hope.
any positive, but it also shuts you off any negative emotion
Yep.
too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gamble. I'm done with all the assignments. Not if you repress and dissociate.
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
won't be
Remember,
happy.
if you give up now on being happy, you don't have to be later.
And you won't be disappointed that you're not happy when you want to be. It'll be like, well, why did I expect to be happy in the first place?
It'll be like, I see that over there, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like that.
Yep. You'll have no inner sense of direction at all.
Yep.
You'll just kind of
Be floating.
be floating with the life.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
There we go.
And then watch us every night.
Yes.
Repress,
and
dissociate, repress, 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 dissociate, key change, repress, dissociate, repress. I don't actually know what key I was in the first place.
You're in the key of repression.
Oh yeah.
That's reminding me of AP Psych. That's right. That's a class where you can repress and dissociate all day.
Big time. All day.
To the bank.
To the bank.
Did you major in SAT tutoring? That is not a major, but if it was, we totally would be all over that.
Oh, we would be so into
Oh
that.
my god, I wish they had that when I was in school.
Where? Yeah.
Are you in SAT tutoring Majorland? Majorland?
Majorland.
Majorland. Yeah. Because you should. It's a fun major.
What's the next one? SAT reading, yeah?
ACT reading.
ACT reading?
I believe it was ACT reading.
Was it ACT reading? Who wanted it?
Somebody wanted it.
Okay.
Uh,
SAT.
Hold on.
SAT
hold on.
reading question.
Are
Is
there
there
any
SAT?
tips in the reading portions of the ACT?
Oh.
Yep,
Nice.
your clump.
You got a plump.
Your clump. You wanted ACT reading. Very good. All right.
Okay, you don't want SAT reading, I guess. Whatever.
You're going to be okay with that. All right. So I'm going to bring up an ACT. Let's get an ACT up here.
I like to go to the questions first for reading in science. Definitely for science. There is no reason in the world you should read the passage in science first, ever. The reading section, it depends on, what floats your boat, but science, no way should you ever read it first. Just go straight to the questions. Ooh, Jerklump suffers in science as well. Science is tough. Yo. Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Here we go.
Well, if the college student is taking the SAT or ACT, then yes, we will help you a lot. Otherwise, no. But we are going to have a raffle, I'm not sure when, for high school seniors for college application essays. We're not giving you a college application essay, but we will raffle off me helping you for a session on your SAT, what am I saying? On your college application essay. Raffle. Yes, GRE is very similar.
Yeah, we also tutor for those things. I'm tutoring a student in the GRE right now, actually.
Yeah.
Graduate,
Repress and dissociate.
yeah, it's an exam for if you want to go into graduate school, but it's not for med school, that's the MCAT. It's not for law school, that's the LSAT.
Although you
and
can
it's
apply
not-
to law school with only the GRE now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you take it at the end of college to apply to law school. Shall I start?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Go start.
All right. The ACT reading section is a bundle of joy. GRE stands for Pay 200. That's very good. That's very good, Usfo. The trick to these sections, there's really not a trick, but we know Lenify. We're going to work our way through. I think you're next. You're looking for textual evidence to back up the answers. I'm going to start talking like a normal human being again. Not that there aren't people that talk like we were talking before. I don't know. We just start talking like that. And we just can't stop. It's bad. I should talk to a doctor. I feel sick. Anyway, you want to look for textual evidence to back up the questions, okay? So, we're going to build up to how I suggest you do this, but let's just say you read all of it. Great. You go down to the questions. Hold on.
There we go. You go down to the questions, and you take a look at, let's go to, I don't know. Number 6. Based on the passage, the end the narrator mentions in line 80 most likely refers to his what? Oh, thank you for the follow, Usvo. We're going to follow you right back, if we could. But we can't. Could we? Do we have the technology?
No, we don't have the technology.
Sorry, we don't have the technology or the resources, but if we did, we would definitely follow you back. What this means is we want to go to line 80 and check out what's going on there. We go to line 80. It says, Friday night spent in the pool in pursuit of an end that seemed always one step further on. I was out of laters. This was the end, and I made my choice. I cashed in the energy I set aside for climbing out of the pool. All right, so it seems like this is the end of the whole process. He did so much practice. All right, Usvo. Good luck. I followed a long time ago, but could never catch a stream until now. Jarek Lump, it's good to finally have you here. Anyway, you want to read a little bit around what the question connects to. So like this is nice because they give us a line number. Other times though, all you have to work with are keywords in the question. You know, he thought his mom meant this, and it's like, all right, well, where does it talk about his mom? Let's go talk, read that part about his mom again and find what answer connects most with the evidence in the text. It is the final pursuit of fitness. Now, you guys haven't read this. I have read this passage. Last chance to qualify for junior nationals, memory of his final Friday night practice, ultimate realization that he defeated the other competitors in the race. This is a time trial. He's only against himself. So it's not that he defeated the other competitors. This is the last chance he has to qualify for the junior nationals, the end of the process of training to be able to qualify for this. Had you read this, you'd understand that. But just saying the end does not tell you anything unless you go to it in context and read a little bit around that. All right, generally that's what this is about. It's the evidence-based reading. Actually, on the SAT, they call it the evidence-based reading and writing, that you get a score for that. But anyway, evidence. The hard part is finishing these things on time. Same with science on the ACT. It's very difficult to finish them on time. So here is one trick that I would recommend. First thing you do is you go to the questions. Don't read the questions, but look for the questions that give you line numbers, because then you'll know when you read those that there's a question about them. So here we have number 6. We have line 80. All right, I would underline that. We can't actually do this on because it blocks, but I would underline line 80. Then we have line 35 to 36 right there, also another one. And then we have line 67. So what you would do with that is you go back to your passage, and I'm not going to put them in the right places because I can't. You're going to mark a little vertical line next to the lines that have to do with specific questions. All right, so maybe there's one there, and maybe there's one that's like right up here. Okay. What you do is you start reading. So you start reading, and then as soon as you get to one of your line numbers, you know, oh, there's a question about this. Read that right there, and then go do that question immediately. Here's what you're avoiding. You don't want to read the whole thing, start doing questions, get to that question and say, oh, I forgot about that sentence again. Let's go back and read it again. If you know there's a question about it right off the bat, do that question first right when you get to that piece of information. Great, you've already got one question done. Keep reading. Oh, there's another one that has to do with some line numbers. Wow. Once you finish reading that part, do that question. Now you've got 2 questions done. Keep going. Oh, there's a third one, my lord. Okay. Just wait. Read the third one. There is a question about this one. Go do that question. And then you keep reading till you get to the end. You've already done 3 of the questions. You've done the questions that require you to look back at a very certain place anyway. So that's nice because that's going to cut down. Honestly, over the course of the test, doing that on all 4 passages, you're going to cut yourself down a couple minutes, which is crucial. A couple minutes will be a couple more points you get for getting things right. So that might be huge. All right, that is a cool strategy right there. As far as the types of passages you'll see, they've got the literary narrative passage. They have the social sciences, they have arts and humanities, and they have the natural sciences. You might find over the course of your prep that one of the passages in particular is not your favorite, or maybe you really like one of these passages. You want to start with the ones that you like the most and end with the ones that you like the least. So for some students, the science at the very end, it's very technical, very complicated, and they just generally don't like it. Leave it till the end. Good luck. I mean, it's nice that it's already at the end, so just do everything in order. But maybe you really like that one. Maybe you should start with it. You want to try to build up your confidence towards the beginning as much as you can. Because if you start with one that's very difficult and you already feel like it's not going well, then the other 3 passages are not going to go that well for you. So see if you can figure out that ideal order for you, because that can definitely help. You should be reading the passage. The passage should take around 3 minutes or so. Each question should take about 45 seconds. One of the things you can do for timing practice is just do one passage at a time. Each passage should be around 8 minutes and 45 seconds. So put that on the timer. See if you can finish in that time. If you can't, you got to go a little faster. You might have to read faster. You might have to, don't be afraid to guess. If there are certain questions that you just can't figure out, do not linger on them. That's the worst thing you can do. There are no extra points for harder questions that take you longer to do. You're just trying to get as many right as possible in the short amount of time that they give you. So definitely keep that in mind. Yes. Other reading tips. Yeah, do some practice. There's plenty of tests online. They have explanations for... I can't stop yawning, Levi! They have explanations.
Make sure to do it more.
I should do it more?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
You only have a certain number of yawns in your life. So
is that true?
Front load them. Oh, yeah.
I thought there was an infinite number of yawns. Like,
no,
even after you die, you keep yawning.
No, you keep yawning after you die.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, so it is unlimited.
Not during your life.
Not during your life. Oh, I get that. Okay. Okay. And another thing you can do, and this goes for a lot of the parts of the test, underlining stuff. As you read, if you're making contact with the paper and underlining key things that are happening, whenever they introduce a new character, underline their name, then you'll be a little more attached to the text, and there's less of a chance that you'll just be kind of reading words and it's not really processing. You're underlining, it's an active thing, actively reading. Definitely could help. Yeah, I think that's what you need to know for the ACT reading. Print out some passages, try them out, see how you can do. I'm not going to yawn again. I definitely just held one back, but I could have done it. I could have done it and I didn't, because I care about you guys. Okay, I think we have a Lennox something question now. Here we go. Oh, we got not max questions as well.
Ooh.
That's right. Now we did one of not Max's questions. Max Goldberg is back.
Max is back.
It is a Lenified turn though.
Back again.
Again.
Not Max is back. Tell a friend word.
Alton rolls out biscuit dough into a 10-inch by 15-inch rectangle, then cuts out biscuits in identical rolls across the rectangle. Each biscuit is a circle with radius 1.25.
This is all you.
Oh, it's so all me. Okay, so we got 10 by 15. Does it really matter which way? No. Okay, so here's our biscuit dough, and this is 10 inches, and this is 15 inches. Everybody understands that, I'm sure. Okay, next piece. Identical rows across the rectangle of biscuits that are 1.25 inches wide. What is the maximum area of biscuits he can fit into this rectangle? Okay. Well, we're going to try it both ways. We could do, basically, we need to figure out how many fit this way and how many fit this way and how many fit this way. So we're going to have one here and one here and one here and one here going on that way, and then 1, 2, like that. But we need to figure out how many actually fit, so we have to do that division. Which means it's the maximum, and also be careful, it's the maximum area of biscuits that he can fit. So it's not how many biscuits, but it's the area of biscuits that he can fit. So this is a two-dimensional problem. So how many biscuits that are 1.25 inches at diameter or radius? Radius. Okay, so that's super important too. So the radius of the biscuits is 1.25. That means the diameter of the biscuits is 2.5 inches. That's important. That's an easy thing to mess up on this question. Now, how many times does 2.5 go into 10? Well, let's just do the division. 10 divided by 2.5 is going to be 4. So 4 biscuits down And then what about to the left? Well, that will be 15 divided by 2.5. So 15 divided by 2.5 is going to be 6 biscuits. That way. So now we need to figure out how many biscuits we have. Now, just to clarify here, biscuits are circles, and they have to be put into identical rows. So you can't offset, you can't do this type of thing. None of that is happening, okay? No Olympic ring type things or offsetting a little bit and moving them in. You can't do that. The rows have to be identical. So it's going to be 4 biscuits here and 6 biscuits there. So if we have 4 biscuits by 6 biscuits, that will give us in total 24 biscuits. Yeah? 24B. Now, we need to find the area of all the biscuits. That's what they're asking here. So it will be 24 times the area, which is going to be, back to the radius here, 1.25 squared, whatever is not great order, times pi. So 1 1/4 squared is 5 over 4 squared, which is 25 over 16. So this will be equal to, I'm just doing this by hand instead of with a calculator. You can do it on your calculator. 24 times 25 over 16 times pi. So the 16 becomes a 2, this becomes a 3, and we get, what? Oh, yeah. 75 pi over 2. 75 pi over 2. So the answer will be B. If you have any questions on that, Max or anybody else who's watching, this is a very ACT-esque question, in my opinion, because the ACT likes to ask situational questions. They really like situations. They like word problems. How did you get the 10 over 2.5? Okay, we have to fit all these biscuits in the pan or wherever they are. Okay, we're cutting out these biscuits in this thing. So you need to cut out as many biscuits as you can going down this way. You have 10 inches to take from, and the radius is 1.25, so the diameter of these biscuits is 2.5. So after the first biscuit, you have 2.5 inches taken up, and then you have another 2.5, so now you're at 5, and then you're at 7.5, then you're at 10. So you're seeing how many times you can fit in, which is like division. It is division. That is the definition of division. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this type of question on the SAT. Yes, the SAT likes to ask questions where basically you have to have a sense of everything right off the bat and do some, the reasoning is very complicated and it's not necessarily a very visualizable problem. On the ACT, it's a lot of this type of stuff where, equations aren't as obvious and you have to work your way through and do a lot of translating. But both of them, have their own challenges for sure. You see, very good, jerk lump. Then you do the area formula. Exactly, yeah, you need to figure out how many biscuits you have, and then you need to multiply that by the area of each biscuit. Also, 17 more days until the October SAT. Woo! That's right, Max. Good job. 17 days. Also, we're doing a cram session for the SAT the Thursday night before. Maybe the Wednesday night before. Should we do that too, Brady? Or no? Okay, Brady just humming at me. All right, so let's do we have more questions? Were there more that we were?
Yeah, Max had another one.
Max, you have another question?
It's in there.
Oh, okay, not Max, yes. Do you want to get started on this, Brady?
Sure.
All right. Can you do mine? Yeah, doing it now. Cool. Sorry, Max, I didn't know you had it, but here we go. All right, Brady. Even if you can't do this one, I'm very proud of you.
Whew. When graphed in the xy plane, the equation that is a parabola, which equation shows the x-intercepts of the parabola as constants or coefficients. Oh man, it's going to be great. All right, for any equation at all that has a y and an x in it, could be polynomial, could be a circle or an oval, or the word for that is ellipse. An x-intercept is where you cross the x-axis. Where you cross the x-axis
has a y-coordinate of 0. Do not forget that. If you're crossing the x-axis, your y value is 0. All right? If you're crossing the y-axis, your x is 0. But if you're crossing the x-axis, your y is 0. Therefore, if we want to find the x-intercepts of this parabola, we have to put in y as 0. Okay? So we're going to write this again, but our y value is going to be 0 because that will allow us to solve for the x-intercepts. Did we write this on this side or the other side? We should
this
put it on the
side.
other side. No, we didn't.
Sorry, this side. This
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
I thought you
Okay.
meant from that perspective.
You're out of your mind. X minus y
Did you almost
squared
curse at me just now?
plus... No, I said you're out of your mind.
I know,
Plus
but I
6y
thought maybe you were
minus
mad
4
enough.
is equal to 0. They all equal the same thing. What do you mean by that?
I think so. The type of question is the x-intercept of the parabola as constants or coefficients.
Yeah.
And they're saying that all a, b, c, and d are actually the same equation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get there. We first need to find out what the x-intercepts are. So in order to do that, again, we're going to put in 0 for y. That ends up being 0. We have x minus 4 is equal to 0. X is equal to 4. Okay, x is equal to 4. That is our x-intercept here, and that is, I guess, that's our only x-intercept. Oh, that's kind of sad. So we need to see 4 show up in the equation. There's only one equation that 4 shows up in, A. That's all they're saying here. I mean, we could rearrange, I guess that's really what they did with A, is that they just shoved everything over to the other side except for X. Either way, if you want 4 to be, okay, now constants are just numbers by themselves. Coefficients are where the numbers are in front of variables. So in this case, the coefficient of x is 1, the coefficient of y squared is 1, coefficient of y is -6, but then there's a constant of 4 at the very end. Either way, that's the only place where 4 shows up. So that has to be the answer here. We don't even need to analyze anything further than that. We just need to have a 4 show up somewhere. Does that make sense, Master Goldberg? Levi, what time is it?
Oh yeah, 8:50.
8:50. Do you like that, Master Goldberg? All right. That's it. That's the answer in that case. There's other ways to write it. Couldn't you use the quadratic equation? Yes, but it's far longer than you need it to be. If you just want to find the x-intercept of really any line or any function, you plug 0 in for y and you solve for x. And in this case, there's only one x term and it's already x, so putting y in for everything else will help you find the x value quite quickly. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, what do you mean? How would you use the quadratic equation here? Oh, okay, I'll show you. So a parabola can either have 2 x-intercepts, 1 x-intercept, or no x-intercepts. In this case, there's only one of them, which means the vertex is on the x-axis. That is how there's only one x-intercept. Absolutely. Yeah, if you get imaginary answers when you do the quadratic formula, that means it's a situation like this. It never actually crosses the x-axis, at least on the real number plane. If you get 2 answers, it crosses both places here, and 1 answer means the vertex is right on the x-axis. Which is kind of fun. I kind of like that. It's one of my favorite situations. Very good. Are there any other questions? These are long days, Levi. I get tired. A lot of people don't realize that. I get tired. It happens sometimes. It's not my fault.
It's my brain's fault. Should get in there and just give my brain a beat down. How long do you guys tutor during the day?
Well, during the school week, we can't really tutor unless kids are out of school. So the thing is, Levi and I also teach for this nonprofit in New York. So we teach from 4:30 to 6:30. We get home, we tutor from 7:30 to 9, and then we have maybe a student or two afterward. He and I have most of our students on the weekends.
Can all the ACT science questions be answered from looking at the graphs provided?
No.
Not all of them. No.
You do need to read the text, just don't read it first.
Yeah. There might be a word in the question that it's like, what does that even mean? And you have to look at the definition of that word somewhere.
Yeah.
Or it asks you, you know, what was the purpose of step 2? You got to go to the steps and read what happened in step 2. So
Yeah. The science section can be super tedious and frustrating, but once you take the right approach and have experience with it, it becomes, in my opinion, the most straightforward section because you don't have to read. You just have to do exactly what the question tells you. Jerklump and or anybody else, do you want to go over some science questions? Because I'm happy to do that, and you can leave a minute early or whatever. Can all the ACT science questions be answered?
You just did that.
Oh.
You just did that question.
No, but this question is, can all of the ACT science questions be answered by looking at the graphs provided?
How is that different from what it was before?
The timing?
Oh, because you just said it at a different time.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. So let's go for science questions.
Oh, yes. Let's do it.
Do you have an ACT yet? Is that what you had before?
Yes.
Okay, let's do some ACT science. As opposed to SAT science. Okay, yeah, let's try this one. Okay, doing some ACT science. Approach to this. Yeah, no problem, Lenify. Thank you for calling us amazing. Please share this with other people because we want other people to see it. Because we're not making any money, so like we're putting a lot of time into this, and we still don't need to make money from it. But it obviously is better if we can help 30 people instead of 7 or 8 or whatever it might be. Or sometimes, beginning of stream it's 1 or 2, which is the best time to get here. Right at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We're not doing anything. We're just here and making fun of each other. So you can watch that or you can ask us questions then. You get a lot of attention. Okay, number 21. Also, is this too small for all of you? Because if it is, I can blow it up a little bit more. I should probably make it a little bit bigger. That's what I'm going to say, because I don't really need to write that much on the board. Let's do that. Okay, 21. We have, according to figure 2, the maximum positive value of V sub S was approximately... Okay, so we have a couple things. You can call these whatever you want. You can call them locators. You can call them info. You can call them pieces, whatever. We have a couple things that we need to figure out. Figure 1, that's going to be super easy to figure out. We need to figure out... Oh, well, it actually said figure 2, so I would have failed that. Figure 2, max positive value of Vs. So Vs's max positive value. That's what we're looking for. I haven't read anything here. All I've done is I've looked at the question. I do exactly what it tells me. I know what figure 2 is. It's going to be labeled as figure 2. It's right here. And then I need the maximum positive value of Vs. Now, this might be super obvious. You can probably do this question without really thinking about, like the meta-analysis thing that this section really responds to with people. Pay attention to how you are approaching the science section. That is what the whole section is about. The approach will help you more than on any other section. Like the reading, the English, the math, and same thing with the SAT. It's about like how good you are at this stuff. This, it's not so much that. It is how focused you are and how perfect your approach to every question is. That is the biggest determining factor of how you do on the science section. Now, there are some limits like time and things like that. But 21, figure 2, it's right here. Awesome. Now I'm looking for the maximum positive value of Vs. Awesome. Let's do that. Vs is the dashed line, and the maximum positive value looks to be above that second, not quite the top line, but just below that. Now, there's another thing you need to notice here, and there are some pieces of the science section that require a little bit of outside knowledge or paying extra close attention. We see that hump for the dashed line. And then we might come over to the left and look at this left-hand y-axis, which is the current. But then the right side is voltage, and the numbers are different. That's dangerous, but you can see a couple different things. One, voltage is V. Vs seems like voltage. They probably define it up here, so we could probably see that. Yes, right here, volts, V. That helps. Also, all the answer choices are in voltage. So that's all we're doing. We are just reading this graph. It would be a little over 200, not quite 250, but that looks like what the answer would be, 250. So C. Now, this is the easiest question on this for this passage, right? There are only two things we had to pay attention to. Not much being done. We had to be careful of the y-axes. That's not an unusual problem. Always be aware of your axis labels. That is going to be a huge part of this section. Now, let's go on to 22. It's probably slightly more complicated. Always do these questions in order because per passage, it goes easy to hard. And then you go to the next passage, easy to hard again. Okay, I have a couple minutes. We can do maybe two more. So let's do 22 and then maybe we'll skip. So it would be C for 21. Yes, exactly. Good. 250. Roughly. Yeah. And then, okay, so 22, I'm going to read it here. A period is the time required for a wave to complete one full cycle. Okay. So number 22, we have a period is one full cycle. So they told us that. That's good to know. And then they also say, and I wouldn't recommend writing these things down. Maybe at the beginning when you're practicing the section, sure, but this obviously wastes a ton of time. Based on figure 3, the period for VL. So it's the period of VL in figure 3. That's what we're doing here. Okay, so we're going to go to figure 3, and we're looking at VL. So I need to scroll up a little. Figure 3 VL, and we need the period. Now, they say that the period is one full cycle, which means you go, you would think it's a circle, but it's not, obviously, in this case. We need to go one full cycle. You think 22 is H. Let's see if you're right. V sub L, so that's the dashed line, not the solid, not the dotted. So that's the least movie one. It's not going big, it's not going middle, it's the least one. And one full cycle. Now, that's their definition of period. They didn't have to give that because they do expect you to know what the period of these sine, cosine type functions are. But it's going from one type of point on the function to the other. So a max to a max or a min to a min. In this case, it looks like one cycle is the entire width of this graph in figure 3. Because we have a max, we go down to a min in the middle, and we come back up to a max. Right? It looks like this. If it looked like something like this, then we would have to choose here to here and find that. But we don't have that. We just have the whole graph. So let's look at that. The question is the period in time. Notice we have milliseconds here. So we're looking for time. That would be the x-axis. That makes sense. It's not going to be voltage. The y-axis is V, so that doesn't make sense. It would be 0 to 20, so I would say about 20. H is the right answer. Good job. Yes, so the max is either from the top to the top. It could also be the bottom to the bottom. Those will be the same because these things don't change. They don't go like this and then like that, and that's not what's happening there. So it's top to top or bottom to bottom. It's not top to bottom. That's only half a period. You need a full one, which is top to top or bottom to bottom. Okay, I'm going to go with that makes sense unless somebody has a question to follow up. Otherwise, let's move on. One more question, and then I'm going to call it a night. And then I'll see you tomorrow. Let's jump to a harder question to see how this approach still helps us. And I'm going to erase a little bit here. Let's go to 25. Okay, based on figure 2, which of the following, at which of the following times was the current flowing counterclockwise? Whoa, okay, so there's a bunch of stuff we don't know. We've looked at figure 2 before, so that's cool, but I never saw anything about counterclockwise. So we're going to have to create a connection between things. This is what I call following the path. there is always going to be cause and effect stuff, right? That's what scientific experiments are all about, right? Figuring out how things affect each other. So we are trying to establish those connections, and they're generally pretty clear if you are actively looking for them and being very methodical about it. So the question is saying, based on figure 2, so we have figure 2, that's easy. We have which of the following times was the current, so we're looking for current at a time. At which of the following times? So we're looking for time. Current of the circuit flowing counterclockwise. So the current must be counterclockwise. At some time. So we're eventually going to have to connect current to time. But also we need to figure out how current is with counterclockwise. We need to figure that out. How do we, because we never saw this word counterclockwise. That's what we're doing. Now, this is a very, very methodical way to do it, but that's what I recommend doing. You're identifying things you know, identifying things you don't know. Figure 2 is right here. So, I don't see anything on here that talks about clockwise versus counterclockwise. Now, it does show us current, so that's good. Current is the left side of the y-axis, and we need to figure out which line that does. It probably does the solid line because the dashed line was the voltage on the other side. So that would be my guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and see how current attaches to counterclockwise, because then I'll use the graph to relate to time, right? We have current to time, which is great. We know that relationship because of this graph, the x to the y axis. But we need to figure out what counterclockwise is to current. What is that relationship? So it's clearly not in the graph because it doesn't say anything about counterclockwise. So let's go up a little bit. Let's see where they talk about it. Oh yeah, I think they do, probably around the I thing, because that's amperes. Let me just read this. Electric current can flow through the circuit either clockwise, oh great, positive current, or counterclockwise, negative current. So this means negative current, which maybe you could have guessed, but you didn't have to be able to do that. Negative current. And even if you guessed it, that does not mean that that's the right answer. You must find it in the text. Yes, so this is when you read the passage. I don't know how long it took me to see that comment there. Sorry about that, jerk lump. Yeah, this is when you read the passage. When you know there's something you don't know and the graph is not giving you that information. The earlier questions, a lot of the time, you just have to read a graph. Then the later questions, that's not going to be the only thing you do. Okay, so negative current is counterclockwise. Now let's figure out what shows the current. It's probably going to be, you know, this thing here and that solid line. But let's just make absolutely sure. Figure 2 shows the electric current in the circuit I. Yes, so I is the solid line. That's all we're doing here. So the question is, when is it negative? Right? That was the question. Or sorry, we need it to be negative because that's what gives us counterclockwise, which then would give us the current, which is the current, and then that gives us time. So do you see this path that I built? That is what you're doing in your head. Now, if it helps, do it visually at first. So we're looking for the negative parts of this graph. And I want to go back to the question just to clarify what it's asking for. Is it asking for a range? No. Based on figure 2, at which of the following times? Okay, so they're giving us optional times. Let's start at 0 milliseconds. What is the current at 0 milliseconds? Well, at 0 milliseconds, we have a current that's negative, right? We have a current of negative 0.2, which does mean counterclockwise. So I like A. I'm going to put a check mark next to A. But let's check the others. Maybe I was wrong for some reason. We have 5, 10, and 15. So let's go back up and look at those times. Oh, I may have totally butchered. Oh, sorry. This is wrong. This is wrong. Hi. Bye. Hi, Kuz. I made a mistake here. And I'm glad I checked the other answers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have realized that. When I looked at the at 0, I was looking at the dashed line, which is wrong. It's very possible you make a mistake like that, so always pay attention to which graph you're looking at, and I even said the solid line before. So at 0 milliseconds, I is at 0, which doesn't mean that it's negative, right? So it's not counterclockwise. I don't know what's happening there. And then we go up, and then we have 5, so we have 0, 5, 10, and 15 milliseconds. Well, it's not 0, because we just checked that. At 5, the solid line is positive, so that would be clockwise, so that's no good. And then at 10, it's at 0 again. And then at 5, so 5 and 10 are no good. 15, though, is good, because at 15, that solid line is that's actually looking like the minimum of the solid line. It's at, you know, I don't know, negative 0.27 or something like that. So I would put the answer as D here, 15 milliseconds. Jerklump, do you see how this is a whole lot simpler than I thought? Yes, the approach is very, very, very simple. These questions get very tedious and confusing. That's the problem. If you take this approach, well, yeah, I mean, I'm very, very, very used to doing these problems. But I promise you, if you write out the things you know, or the things you want to know, or go through the question and circle the things that are important. So circle figure 1. Eventually, you will never have to circle figure 1 again, because you're not paying attention to that any more than you like. It's just subconscious eventually. But the other things are, I want this, this, and this. I understand these 2 things. I don't know what this is, and I need to figure out how it connects to this other thing. That very, very conscious, intentional approach will make this section more straightforward. If you don't do that, the harder questions will get really hard because they are complicated. So you want to break it apart into bite-sized chunks. Yeah, so Jerklump, what I recommend is practicing it now on your own, doing this thing, circling what you need, trying to draw connections between them, and have something like this in your mind. Maybe you do need to write it down, that's fine too, of something like counterclockwise to current to time, figuring that out, okay? I recommend doing that on your own and then coming back tomorrow with some questions on how to do that approach for harder questions that you still got wrong. It doesn't mean that this section is easy. It just means that you can see it more clearly, and that's the point for this section. Okay, have a good night, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern again, and I'm happy to answer more questions then. Please, I recommend doing work on your own and then checking the answers, seeing the answer explanations and saying, okay, now I get it, or no, I don't get it, and then I need to ask Brady or Levi. Or maybe you get it, but you realize I keep getting this type of question wrong, so what is the approach that I'm messing up? Something like that. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Where's my stupid? There we go.